The four congresswomen and the Trump.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely sounds like a fable that will be told through the generations to children before they go to bed. Trump
Yes.
and the four congresswomen.
Are they called Aesop's fables?
So yeah, something like that. I think Trump's
Mm-hmm.
fables.
You know what? What's interesting about it is that I haven't myself read the tweets, but I have heard enough hearsay about it where I can sort of surmise what went down. But feel free to
Right.
summarize it, if you will, and share your insights.
I feel like I should pull the tweet up in real time here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's begin with the media response. When I search on Google Trump Twitter, we have a bunch of things pop up reflecting what the media outlets are covering and saying
Mm-hmm.
about it. The Verge, 19 hours ago. Twitter won't hide Donald Trump's racist tweets.
Mm-hmm.
CNET, 13 hours ago. Donald Trump followed by nearly 20% of U.S. adult Twitter users. Interesting. Donald Trump on Twitter. These tweets are not racist. Trump accuses Congresswomen of hating America in defense of tweets.
Right.
Republicans won't fully rebuke Trump's Twitter attack on Democratic candidates. Trump's racist tweets aren't racist, Twitter decides, from Gizmodo.
Uh-huh.
So one thing I've noticed is that they all certainly conclude and pass judgment on the idea that those are racist tweets. So before I've even read the tweets, the media has told me they are racist and has definitely inserted a lot of commentary about what they mean. So it's clear to me that the media is has come out against Trump on this and speaks with a fairly unified voice in not just like reporting on the tweets, but framing them as racist.
That is interesting because where did you do your search, by the way? This was Google, I imagine.
Yeah.
So if we go to a place like DuckDuckGo or something more allegedly neutral, I wonder if that's gonna paint a different picture.
Yeah, that would be interesting. You want to search that one up?
So if I search Trump tweets there, I see just his like a link to his Twitter account, and that's pretty much okay. So if I go to the news, I see the latest Trump defense tweets about four damn women of color. That's all I've got. Romney fails his own test on Trump's racist tweets. George Conway's group Trump tweets should be rejected by every American. Trump tweets racist. I'm not concerned is by USA Today. Okay, so this seems like a little bit more balanced as a set of perspectives, but definitely still bringing up the racism thing. And what are we to take from that, by the way? So what is your qualification for something to be racist?
Well, I think it's like, yeah, I guess this is kind of a side argument to go into, because I draw a distinction between race and nationality and ethnicity and religion, whereas most people don't seem to do that anymore. Racism is just the catch-all term that's used for not liking other groups. So if you make a comment about people coming from a broken country, I think that's what he did. Like, he mostly slammed their countries, even though they're actually mostly American. So that's its own issue. They're actually from the U.S. They were born and raised there, most of them. But he's saying they came from these countries that are terrible countries and don't work. Their governments suck. That to me is not a comment on race, because any given country could have multiple races within it. So this is like one of the distinctions people fail to make nowadays. But I guess in this particular case, that might be a side point, because either way, we definitely know that he was going after them and portraying them as outsiders in some way. So I would say like maybe xenophobia might be a better description of it than racism, since it's not about a race.
That's right.
So yeah, there's that as a starting point. But I think what's interesting is like what was he intending to do with these tweets, and has the media handled it well? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, it seems that the media did what the media does, and to that effect, it seems like he is playing them, because I find it difficult to believe that he didn't anticipate this reaction. He obviously, like, he frames these things in intentionally overly broad strokes type of way, so that it's easily misinterpreted and misportrayed and overblown and so forth. So in that sense, yeah, he is. He. It's difficult for me to know for sure what it is that he wanted them to do, but it seems like he's got them where he wants them. I sort of anticipate that you're going to bring up Tim Pool and Styx, Hex, and Hammer and their response to this, where potentially this could be like one of those 4D chess moves where he's actually doing this on purpose to try and unify the Democrats, which Democrats they think that it's a great idea for them to get unified, but he is unifying them by having them defend the lunatic fringe of the party, which is not a good look for the sort of more reasonable folks in their ranks.
Yeah, I had heard this from Tim Pool, and someone on the CBC also made this commentary this morning. And so I was thinking, yeah, that seems like the most plausible thing. But now I have further confirmation from the mouth of the horse, because he's summarized his own 4D chess move right here on his Twitter feed. I see 18 hours ago. His tweet is, quote, "The Dems were trying to distance themselves from the four progressives," in quotes, "but now they are forced to embrace them. That means they are endorsing socialism, hate of Israel, and the USA. Not good for the Democrats," end quote. So he just confirmed exactly that was his strategy. As far as I can see, he was trying to get the Democrats to stop distancing themselves from these new left radicals in their base and embrace them, so that the voters understand, swing voters in particular, that they're a radical party. And so it does seem like they've played into his hand here, haven't they?
It looks like he plays them like a fiddle, man.
Yeah, it's interesting. Interesting just reading through his Twitter feed, which I almost never do. But there's a lot of stuff in there that the media doesn't pick up on. Like, they selectively pick up on certain things. And some of these, I'm not a fan of Trump, but some of them are true points, like points that he makes about some of the things these congresswomen have said, some of the more radical things he's pointing out here. And he's answering some of the charges from the mainstream media here in his Twitter feed, but these have not been included in the media articles I see.
But by the same token, I think he realizes fully well that most of these outlets are not going to highlight any of his more reasonable statements. So I think he does that for his fans and for his base, who can refer to these things if they need to. But he also, the way that he interacts with the media, I think, is sort of like in conditioning. I don't think it's Pavlovian conditioning, but it's one of the forms of conditioning in psychology. It's called intermittent reinforcement, where instead of giving the pellet every time, the pellet is only provided every once in a while, and that actually gets the frenzy, like that, it reinforces behavior much faster. And so, yeah, instead of like tweeting something outrageous every day, he does it on occasion, and the media eats it up, and they can't help themselves because the
No.
business is built on outrage and sensationalism and the quest for higher ratings. And it's a short-term strategy, but nobody seems to be able to resist it. And
Right.
and I think a lot of these outlets are really undermining their long-term prospects by engaging
Mm,
in this type of reporting, and
yeah,
that's why
I
that's
agree.
why fake news is a very popular slogan these days.